Hello, welcome. Welcome to this channel and thank you for tuning in. You know the drill by now. We're on page 37. Let's get started. Samyojana. So we talked on page 36 about 5 fetters, and then we talked about 7 mental defilements. Now the list is going to be expanded to 10. So we'll see which ones are new, and I won't talk too much about the ones we've already covered. 10 fetters that bind the mind to rebirth, also called becoming. Number 1, the delusion that our body-mind is our self. In other words, a self-identification. Being slaves to our own craving, perceiving form, feelings, memory, thoughts, and consciousness as being oneself. So we have talked about that quite a bit. I'm not inspired to say much more about it. If we're not practicing self-awareness and strengthening that self-awareness with our meditation, we're not going to uproot, we're not going to discover, we're not going to have the insights into the way the mind works to trick us, to deceive us, to delude us, and to keep us ignorant. Number 2, doubt, uncertainty about the triple gem. That's Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Doubts in one's own ability. That's the 4th form of doubt. Doubt about the path, about merit, about karma, about liberation, about nibbana. In other words, doubt masquerades in so many forms, and the mind has been in control of us for so many lifetimes, or certainly all of this lifetime, and it knows exactly how to trick us. It knows what our prejudices are, what our weaknesses are, and it knows exactly how to maintain control. And it takes a lot of power or concentration for us to shine a light into those dark places. Grasping at precepts and practices, rites and rituals, clinging to mere rites. I talked about that on page 36. People have lots of unfounded beliefs about their religious practice. That's usually some kind of a bargaining contract that they have with invisible, powerful beings, and how to placate those beings so that they'll be graced with some benefits from those invisible beings. And I mentioned a 2-year-old child bowing down to the statue of the Buddha, and somehow the parents imagining that the child is going to make Buddha happy. So grasping at precepts and practices. Many of these practices, rites and rituals, they're easier. They are so much easier than purifying the mind. So it's only natural, human nature being what it is, let's find the easiest way we can to get the job done. So maybe if I make a big donation to a temple or to some Dhamma group or church or whatever, that I'll get a blessing for having a shared money. And it's not that that's impossible, but it's easy to deceive oneself that we purify the mind by things that we do in the world, when in fact we purify the mind by what we do with the mind. Sensual passions and pleasures. On page 36, I just talked about how the body and the whole six senses, but in this case the five senses, its only purpose, it's designed to keep us in the delusion that this is happening to me. The natural satisfaction, however mild, of the mind and its perceptions through the five senses. So I've talked about powerful experiences, sensual experiences through the five senses, works of art, things of beauty, etc., beautiful music or some other sound, the sound of your child's voice or your lover's voice, etc. These can be very powerful or very subtle, but there's a liking involved, and it's the liking to the sensations that arise on the body, even at the subconscious level. Now, the opposite of that, repulsion, malevolence, irritation, dissatisfaction, dislike, not getting what one wants, getting what one does not want. So those were the first two on page 36 of the hindrances. When we started with 5 hindrances, we're repeating, reinforcing our understanding of how we stay stuck in ignorance. It's every time we say, I don't like, I don't want, I don't think, we are expressing an irritation, a dissatisfaction, a dislike for something, however mild. You could say, well, I don't like olives. Okay, that's pretty mild. It's certainly milder than maybe some political statement, but however mild it is, it creates a sensation. And it's inevitable. We can't stop that. We're not trying to stop that. We're trying to stop being attracted to that and being possessive of it. I mentioned before the Zen saying, we can't keep birds from flying over our head, but we can prevent them from making a nest in our hair. We cannot prevent negative thoughts from arising in consciousness. That's a law of nature. But we can be awake to that moment when they arise and not claim them as belonging to us. And in that moment, whatever has arisen disappears. It does not become a karmic seed. It doesn't go down somewhere in the subconscious or wherever these thoughts go, preparing itself to rise up again. There's an enormous storehouse of these unknown thoughts and emotions. Our job is to notice when they arise, not cling to them, not identify with them, to be an objective witness, like a video recorder. We just know. We just know it happened. We don't have to have any emotional response to it, including being sad or depressed or angry, frustrated that these negative thoughts continue to arise. That's their job. We planted those seeds unconsciously, unknowingly, a long time ago, and now the soil was ripe for them to bear fruit. That's what they did. We burned the seed so it's not fertile when we refuse to engage with it. Number 6, passion for form, attachment to the realms of form, absorption, that's a meditative state, absorption in something with form. It doesn't have to be a meditative state, I'll correct that. A breath, mantra, or meditation objects, or absorption in the fine material spheres. Those fine material spheres are the 4 jhanas, as far as I know. And the point here is this craving, this desire, this impulse to be. And if we're going to be, we want to be something. In this case, we're human. Maybe we could be an angel or some lower god or some angelic being that I know nothing about. But it's a form. Even though it may be invisible to our human eyes, it won't be invisible to the, quote, eyes we would have if we had that form. And again, this is an example of the desire to continue to be or to become. 7, passion for formlessness, immaterial, mental, formless spheres, voidness and emptiness. Those are, if I'm not mistaken, characteristics of the second of the 4 groups of 8 jhana. So the second group of 4. And from what I've read, there are spheres of existence that are at least there's vocabulary about them in the highest heavens. There's 30 some heavenly realms, and some of them are immaterial. They're just mental. There's no apparent form to them. There are people who crave to be there, whatever that might mean. Number 8, conceit. Conceit, briefly defined, is the belief that I am. Feelings which perceives that there is a self which is mine. This gives rise to, this is what happens the moment we have conceived the idea that I am. Then what happens? I am better than you, or the same or equal to you, or less than you. That's what the grading system in our cultures does. Somebody gets an A, someone a B, a C, a D, an F. In sports, somebody wins the trophy, the gold medal, somebody doesn't. If we're competing with our peers, somebody gets a new car and we feel inferior, we get a better car, we feel superior. So this is, quote, human nature. I've defined that in the past, and it's not a pretty thing. So the attachment to what one thinks one is, pride and self-judgment. So I notice it's very popular now. People have racial identities, ethnic identities, national identities, cultural identities, language identities, and all this does, frankly, is pit one group against another. We can argue historically, this used to be my country and you stole it from me. You've destroyed my language, you destroyed my culture, you colonized me, etc. It's this self-identity is the cause of suffering. And we want to be different, we want to be unique, we want to be special. Parents naturally tell their children how special they are. You're my little princess. You're my little angel. You'll always be my baby. You're so beautiful, etc. And all this really does, besides boost their ego, is teach them to be competitive with people who they consider not to be as pretty, not as smart, not as skilled, the wrong color, etc., etc. So that's a pride and self-judgment. I've already mentioned various forms that takes. The desire for prominence and control over others. There's a famous book entitled How to Win Friends and Influence Others. So it's very popular, at least it used to be. A famous millionaire wrote it, and it's teaching how can we have control, how can we influence people to do what we want, how can we get them to do what we want. And I know there's all kinds of courses and seminars, etc., for business managers and corporation executives, etc., to utilize these techniques, frankly, to control the workforce. So the desire for prominence and control over others, the pursuit of power. Power usually takes these basic forms. There's a physical power. Historically, men have been more powerful physically than women, and they dominated them. They had prominence, they had control over women because of their physical strength. There is money. That's a great controller, even in our liberated modern culture. Sometimes partners and spouses compete financially to be one who makes more money, or makes more money than their sister or their brother or some other competitive person they want to do better than. So we have money. Certainly these millionaires and billionaires are competing now to be the first trillionaire. There doesn't seem to be any limit to how powerful people want to be. I mentioned before that a famous politician said there's no such thing as too much greed. That's a form of power. It's usually money-based. Then there's something like being handsome or beautiful. That's certainly a power. Doors open to people because of their good looks that may not be open to others. And of course there's political power, maybe the most deadly of all. Number 9, restlessness, anxious for success, distraction, excitement to be taken with, to be interested in. We've talked about that previously, this mental and physical laziness, and then its opposite, this anxiety and agitation that keeps us constantly agitated. A second meaning is one of the highest fetters when the chitta, that's the mind, has gone overboard in its investigation with panya. So apparently there is a condition where we become obsessed with our ability to analyze and to investigate and to consider, theorize about the Dhamma what Panya is, how it is, where it is, why it is. And this is an attachment, it's a craving, and it's an obstacle to our real progress. Restlessness and agitation from being obsessed with the investigation with Panya. I know someone who told me she considered herself fully liberated, and she said from the non-returner anagami state to the arhan state took her 10 years, which may be a short time, I don't know, because she became obsessed with wanting to know why things were the way they were, how things got that way, what the meaning of everything was, and this became a fetter, it became an obstacle, it became an obsession, it was something she clung to, she craved for it, and this blocked her success. This experience is at the level of Arahatamaga, or the path of the Arhat. So this, as I just mentioned, usually occurs between the once returner anagami to the one who is fully liberated. And number 10, by the way, those of you who are following in the book know that I've turned the page to page 38, is ignorance of the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. So there's the extreme ignorance that we're a person, and out of that ignorance there are many, many sub-forms of ignorance, and one of the greatest ones is that we don't know about the Four Noble Truths, or we simply don't understand them, we don't agree with them, we haven't investigated them, we haven't seen how they are true for us in our day-to-day life, and we haven't investigated within our own mind the Eightfold Noble Path to see how it operates daily as well. Ignorance of the laws of nature and the nature of those laws. So we have two kinds of laws of nature. We have the laws of nature that scientists explore, biologists and chemists and astrophysicists and all those various sciences, including the social sciences, that try to determine how the universe is functioning, how people are functioning, that there is such a thing as gravity or aerodynamics and all the various laws, etc., for the laws of the physical world. And then there's the laws of Dhamma nature. Dhamma nature is also lawful. Those laws can be known. They are available to us. They are embedded in what we call the mind, and our job is to mine them. That's M-I-N-E, mining as in a precious metal or gem, and not as one of these Bitcoin minings, that mining for something that doesn't exist and valuing it at whatever $180,000 for one coin that you can't take to the bank in exchange for cash, if I understand correctly. But Dhamma nature, you can mine it. It takes an effort to explore and discover. This quote, digging for it is something we do with our concentration and our mindfulness, and we will come to see those laws of nature that are the way we can talk about Dhamma. And now finally, destruction of the fetters. So if there are fetters, if the laws of Dhamma are at work, there must be ways to eliminate or to defeat these fetters. So the first three are greatly reduced at stream entry. So when you become a member of the Sangha by entering the stream, Satapani, the first three fetters are greatly weakened. It doesn't say they are completely eliminated, but we don't suffer from them as in the way we once did. Continued improvement of 1, 2, and 3 at the once returner. So nothing new as far as eliminating, defeating the fetters when we become Sekatakami, once returner, but we're getting better and better at defeating these first three fetters. They cause us less and less trouble. 4 and 5 are greatly reduced in the non-returner, and 6 through 10 are perfected at Arhat. No fetter is perfected until reaching the level of Arhat. So no matter how, quote, good we are at reducing and the problems that arise as a result of these fetters, we can't say that we've truly conquered them or truly eliminated them until we've reached this state of perfection called Arhat. Well, once again, we're going to close it here. Thank you if you've made it to the end. As I always say, I mean what I say. I'm so grateful to you for your interest in the Dhamma. I'm certain you can be blessed by your practice, your devotion, your sincerity, and become a blessing to yourself, a blessing to others. Thank you so much. I hope you'll continue to tune in.